G'day everyone. Yesterday I posted a video comparing the Sony 135 against the Sigma 105 and also the G Master 85. But at the end of that I did show I had a brief discussion about the working distances that are required for using these lenses to get a full body shot. And I thought it was a pretty important thing to show, just in case if people are thinking about buying these and they're thinking, I may say use it at a wedding or something like that. Well, you have to understand the working distances that are required if you think you're going to be using this for full body. So I thought I'd share this as a separate video just to help people out to understand the distances that are required. And I'll show you why, because if you look at this image here, what I've got here is, this is the Sony 135. Greg lent me the lens. I didn't have that at that stage. I've now got it, but Greg lent it to me, so thank you, Greg. And I thought I'd use it with this background, this building in the background. Now that building is a long way away, and I'll show you that in a minute, but it's the compression of these lenses brings that background way forward, and that's what I love about using these longer lenses. It's fantastic. And I do love that aspect of it. But there is a consequence of using these longer lenses, is the amount of distance that you've got to stand back from your subject. And that's what I wanted to show you today. So to show you what's going on here, I did do, by the way, I did do full body, and then I also did a sort of head and sort of waist, and then also just head and shoulders. So I did do 3 variations of this. To look at and see how, and I'll sort of mention to you the working distances that I was using when I got each one, but I'm talking about full body to start with. So when we look at this, I had someone just take a photo from behind, and you can see this is the working distance that I'm standing at. Now at the moment though, this was the Sigma 105, so I took 2 lenses on the day because I wanted to test them. So this is the working distance of the 105. Now you can see here that I'm standing at the end with the Sigma 105, and I'll show you that in a minute, just so you can compare how much even the 135 pulls you back. So that's the distance. You can also see how far away that building is behind. So when you're looking at that compression that is being grabbed here, you can see how much the compression is bringing that building back in, and I love that. Like I said, if you've got something of interest a long way away, like if you're doing a wedding or whatever, it will really bring that background interest in, and I do love that aspect. But you are standing a long way away from your subject here to get full body, and this is a 105. Now if we look at it from the other aspect, I'll show you the 105 first, just so you get an idea. So this is the Sigma 105, and you can see that I'm lining up with the building on the side, and it's lining up with the N there. And that's the working distance that I've got with the Sigma 105. So you can see that's already quite substantial. But if we change that to the 105 here, you'll notice now that it's now gone from the N and it's moved way back to here. So it's probably nearly 3 meters away. So it's another 3 meters, at least 2.5 meters away from where I was with the 105. And this is showing you the working distance that you need to be at if you're going to use something like a 135 for full body portraiture. And this definitely could put it out of being used in most studios. And that's the other thing that I wanted to sort of mention with this, that unless you've got a very, very large studio, you're going to struggle fitting that in. Mine is 9 meters roughly, and I really have to step outside the studio to use it for full body. So, that's something that you have to understand. Now, if you're dealing with moving in, though, a little bit, like I showed you with, say, where I'm, say, from the waist up, well, then, if you look at my mouse, you're starting to be around this area, so that you can step in substantially if you're not doing full body. If you're doing head and shoulders, which was like this one, so if you're doing that type of image, well then you can actually get pretty close. And I was sort of working from around this area of the car. So if you're using it as a typical portrait lens of doing, say, head and shoulders, it really is fantastic because you can get awfully close to the subject, so or close to the subject. And the close focusing of this lens is pretty amazing, actually, how close you can get to the actual subject. So if you're working in that way, the lens will be really suitable for doing things like weddings and things like that indoors. If you're just trying to get the details, you know, you might be trying to get a beautiful face, head and shoulders, things like that, even half body, it probably is workable. But the second that you're dealing with going down to full body, you're going to have to be using this type of distance, which, you know, you can see is quite substantial. So I just wanted to share that with you all. Because it really, I was sort of a bit shocked myself. I didn't realize I was going to have to stand that far back. I'm still absolutely rapt that I got the 105 because I probably will be able to use it, and I will use it for the wedding formals due to that beautiful separation that you get from the background. And things like that, and I'll certainly be using it for the beautiful head because the 135 is the nicest focal length that you can use for portraits. So if I'm using it for that type of thing, I'll still be using it in weddings. It just means that when I'm dealing with it in a tight environment, I just won't be able to use it, and I probably would have to use my Batis or something like that, or even the 55mm. So just wanted to share that with you because I thought it's an important thing to show you guys as a separate video because a lot of people may not see it due to the way the other one was labeled. So that's about all. So I'll see you in the next video.